So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. It is so good to have you all. We are going to talk about something that truly struck me and triggered me when I started seeing it appear on my news feed. The craziest thing about it was that this article is deeply behind a paywall. And the title of that article is called Here's Why I'll Be Keeping My Shoes On in Your Shoeless Home, published by the Wall Street Journal. And I tried to click it the first time I saw it slammed behind a paywall. Then I saw it somewhere else, got slammed behind a paywall. So then I said, okay, PTE, stop thinking about it because you're going to be upset because you're going to mess around and subscribe to the Wall Street Journal just to read this silly little article. But then I got lucky somehow. I was lurking on Facebook and the article reappeared again. And through some like portal or like back door, I was able to like backdoor into the article and finally got an opportunity to read it. And y'all, I just can't even. I do believe this author intended to trigger people with this article. I really, really do. And she did. She was successful. But the crazy part about it is there are people who think just like her, who have the same thought process, the same rationale, the same reasoning, and the same audacity and gall when it comes to your things. Okay. So let's take a look. So here's what I had to do. I had to like record the article. So I'm not displaying it to you through a web browser. I'm actually displaying it to you through a video. Okay. So here's the article. Here's why I'll be keeping my shoes on in your shoeless home. And then the subtext or the subheadline is, why are you assuming that your guests' shoes are dirtier than your floors? Woosah and breathe. Here's the person who decided to attach her name and face to this article. Her name is Chris Frieswick. And this was published on February 10th, 2022, okay? And it reads, shoes are one of the things that separates us from other species. Not only are shoes fabulous, but they protect our soft and not very well designed feet from threats, both foreign and domestic. Every single toe that I ever broke got that way while I was not wearing shoes. Despite their incalculable value to the human race, many people maintain a shoeless home. Some of them believe that forcing people to remove their shoes before entering will help keep their floors clean from the various things that exist outside. I do understand that there are people who don't wear shoes in the home for cultural or religious reasons. If I'm entering the home of someone from a culture in which wearing street shoes inside is a sign of disrespect, I'm of course going to take them off. I will also remove them if my shoes are covered in snow, mud, blood, condiments of any sort, lava, excrement, concrete dust, or biomedical hazardous waste. And I don't really need to be told to do so. Boy, the snark. These people are so arrogant. The arrogance. Oh, the arrogance. All right, I'm trying to scroll it. Bear with me because it's a video that I'm scrolling through. But barring shoes outright, just to keep your floors clean, is bringing a gun to a pillow fight. Turns out there's already an effective old-fashioned way to achieve your goal of a clean floor while neither insulting my hygiene habits nor endangering my delicate, vulnerable, long-suffering feet. It's called a doormat. Let's keep going. Welcome everyone in the chat. In other shoeless homes, it isn't the dirt that owners fear, it's the germs. For these folks, shoes are super spreader events. They likely got freaked out by a 2008 study by scientists at the University of Arizona that found that 96% of shoe soles have fecal bacteria like E. coli on them. Gross, right? Shoes are the devil. Oh, wait. Turns out E. coli is everywhere already. You're probably sitting in a big pile of it right now. When people see the study, they are just horrified. For me, that's no surprise at all. E. coli is everywhere. So, what about babies? They are fecal bacteria machines. I asked Dr. Scott if having a baby in your house is actually more dangerous to home cleanliness than my shoes. Don't quote me saying that, she says, but baby poop sure is. So I guess this woman just has baby poop everywhere, just smeared all over her house. And her children must be filthy from head to toe. Just wait, hold on, PCE. Just wait, just wait. What about pets? Think, if you dare, about what comes in on the bottoms of their already shoeless feet. Yet I don't see these homeowners forcing their guests to leave their babies and dogs out on the front stoop, do I? Hypocrisy thy name is. Insert name of person with shoeless home here. All right, there's more. Instead, shoeless homeowners prefer to do the easy thing and point at my shoes and deliver the unspoken message. Chris, welcome to our home where your filth is filthier than the filth we already have over our floors. To add to the ignominy, ignominy. Next comes the physical challenge of actually taking off the shoes. Unless there is a thoughtfully placed stool, bench, or chair at the entrance to the shoeless home, shoed visitors are required to lean against a wall to take off the shoes. What if the visitor is elderly or infirm or just has bad balance? Due to my broken toes and related joint maladies, it is difficult for me to take off my shoes even in the best of conditions. What if I topple over and injure one of my few undamaged body parts while complying with your ridiculous shoeless home dictate? Once you stop laughing, you'll feel really guilty about it. So her genuine concern is that she's going to fall over and hurt herself trying to take her shoes off at your front door. Okay? See, this is why I don't look at the chat. This is why I don't look at the chat. The chat says, well, leave your broken toe ass at home. For real, though. Once shoeless, feet are utterly vulnerable to myriad household threats. Chair legs, bedposts, door jams, dropped knives, random Lego pieces, and God forbid anyone has been playing jacks. Jacks? Also consider the not so small threat to hosiery. No nylons can survive a night shoeless. Why don't I just leave my shoes on and give you the amount of money I would have spent replacing the shredded Wolfords? You can use it to hire a house cleaner to mop up after my shoe debris. Keep the change. There will definitely be some. I mean, do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Okay, there's more. Please don't offer me a pair of guest slippers. Do I look like I want to wear a pair of nasty slippers previously worn by potentially tens of strangers before me? There's dried on foot sweat and dead skin in those things. I'll stick with the E. coli, thanks. If you do keep a shoeless home, you should also know that you are probably endangering your family's health, not just their feet. Exposure to low-level filth, like that tracked in by friends who refuse to remove their shoes, actually helps bring a little bit of the outside in. Engaging with outdoor microbiomes is, Dr. Scott says, one of the ways that human immunity is developed. You love your children, the little fecal bacteria bombs, don't you? They gotta eat some dirt in this life. So why not get them started at home? They'll grow up healthy and strong and go on to get great jobs and make lots of money and support you in your old age. So this woman has literally just connected you wearing shoes inside your house to your children being successful in life and taking care of you later on in life. Like, this is absolutely insane. I cannot believe the Wall Street Journal would publish this. It says, my shoe policy for our home is this. unless there is something seriously nasty visibly stuck to the bottom of your shoes. They should remain on your feet unless you personally desire to take them off. And then, my friend, you're on your own. Boy, like I don't even, there's so much to unpack in this article. I don't even know where to start. So forgive me if I seem or sound all over the place, because I probably will be, because there's so much to pick apart in this particular article. Okay. So why don't we do just that? Why don't we just start right away? So, first of all, she basically makes the case for our feet being very delicate and in need of protection. And then she goes on to say that, of course, if there's a cultural or religious reason for me taking my shoes off, I will, as if that makes a difference. Using her logic, it shouldn't make a difference, right? Using her logic, it shouldn't matter if it's cultural or religious, because the floor is still filthy, like your house, right? I mean, I'm sorry, the floor is still filthy. According to her, the floor is still dirty. She said she'll respect your little culture and your little religion, and she'll do it then, right? And then she even went so far as to say she'll take them off if they're covered in snow or mud or blood, which very, very weird insertion there, but okay. Condiments, lava, excrement, concrete dust, biohazard waste. And she said, and she doesn't need to be told to do so. So she's trying to make the case that she's got good sense and that she would take her shoes off, if they're actually dirty. So there's a little bit of narcissism for you right there. She has to make the assessment about whether or not her shoes are dirty enough for your house. So in other words, okay, yeah, I know I've been walking through mud, so yeah, I'll take my shoes off. But if I haven't been walking through mud or snow or blood, then I'm going to leave my shoes on, because I'm making an assessment about my dirty shoes in your house. Okay? Your house. All right? Then this is where the article starts to take a turn. And I really think something may be wrong with this person. Okay? She basically says that a doormat is the solution to all of us shoeless house freaks. She's like, that's what they make doormats for. That's what they're designed for. And anyone who's ever had a doormat knows that the doormat doesn't actually get everything. It really doesn't. A lot of shoes have crevices up in them, especially shoes like with thick soles and boots and things like that. Some sneakers even, where the dirt can get real wedged up in there. But you know what's real good at getting dirt out of shoes? Carpet. Because it's soft and it can get way deep down in those crevices in ways that the doormat simply can't. And on top of that, after how many uses do you think the doormat is now officially dirty? 1 use, 2 use, 3 uses? How many trips back and forth over the doormat before it's actually officially dirty? How many of you have had to take your doormat and, I don't know, shake it somewhere else or rinse it off if it's waterproof? Doormats get dirty like immediately for this very reason. And those of you who live in big cities, I can't even imagine what you step in on your daily commutes. And the thought that a doormat could actually sufficiently take care of that shows the level of simplicity and the lack of thought process these people apply to day-to-day lives. But it doesn't matter, because understand, she's already made a decision for your home. She's made a decision for you. This is what narcissists do. They decide what is best for your life. They made an assessment for your life. She's not talking about her house. As a matter of fact, at the end of the article, she basically says, if you want to take your shoes off in my house, you're on your own. Meaning her floors are so filthy that you're better off leaving your shoes on in her house. That's what that means. So then she goes on to quote a study done in 2008 by the University of Arizona that found that 96% of shoe soles have fecal bacteria on them, also known as E. coli. And she goes, gross, right? Yeah, that is gross. It's kind of what we already know. But then her justification for that is to turn around and say, E. coli is everywhere already, and you're probably sitting in a big pile of it right now. No, honey, I'm not sitting on a poop pile. I'm not. Okay? I'm not. You might be home sitting on a poop pile, but I'm not sitting on a pile of E. coli right now. I'm not. I don't know how you live your life. And if you choose to live your life that way, that is your business. That is really, truly your business. But you can't make the same assumptions about everyone else. Everyone else. You can't make that assumption. It's almost like she's saying, look, guys, my house is filthy. So I know your house is filthy too. So I'm better off leaving my shoes on in your dirty house, because if you take your shoes off in my house, your feet are going to get covered. Okay? Covered. But, well, let me go through the article and then I'll give some more thoughts, higher level thoughts. Okay? So her justification is E. coli is already everywhere. So people like this are problematic and dangerous because their mindset is, then why mitigate? Then there's no need to do anything different because they already believe it's too far gone, basically. So in other words, why clean up when in their minds, E. coli is everywhere already? So there's no need to wipe down the countertops. There's no need to clean out the sink. There's no need to clean out the refrigerator ever, because in their minds, it's already covered in germs. So why bother? And y'all wonder why diseases spread through the population the way that they do. You wonder why. You wonder why parasites spread throughout the population the way that they do. Why viruses spread throughout the population the way that they do. You really wonder. This is why. Because there are people who believe it's already all so dirty that I'm not adding to the dirt, and anything I take away, I was going to take away anyway. So these are going to be your people who don't wash their hands. I'm surprised she didn't bring it up in this article. These are going to be your people who don't wash their hands. They don't believe in washing their hands. Why? Because they believe you need to be exposed to a certain level of germs. And she goes on to say as much. She goes on to equate germs to a healthy and successful life for your kids. So then she goes on to ask about babies. Because anytime this topic comes up, honestly, that's my first thought. I don't have baby children, but if I did, well, my house is already shoes off as it is because I live here. But if I had a baby, I would double down on that because I don't want my baby crawling around on the floor where you've tracked in literally a little bit of everything you have. And this person also makes the assumption that I don't clean my house. So you don't think I vacuum? You don't think I shampoo the carpets like once a year? You don't think I pick up little trash and debris? But primarily, you don't think I vacuum, is what you clearly don't think. So you just assume my floor is equally as dirty as yours, and if not dirtier, and that me asking you not to track in the outside is somehow offensive to you. Somehow it's offensive. I wish she had spoken on whether or not if they ask her to wear shoe covers, like, okay, you don't have to take your shoes off, but can you wear shoe covers, please? I wonder if she'd take issue with that. All right. But she goes on to say that babies are fecal bacteria machines. So in her mind, once again, your crawling baby, your baby that's crawling around on the floor is dirtier than her feet. Excuse me, not her feet, dirtier than the bottom of her shoes. Okay? And she acts like she doesn't understand that you might step in some gum and that gum might get stuck to your shoe and the doormat may not take it off. And then as you're walking around the house, that gum comes off of your shoe onto the carpet. And for some reason, that's okay with this woman. So she's trying to say your baby is dirtier than the soles of her feet. She's trying to say your pet's feet are dirtier than the bottoms of her shoes. Now, let's really think about that. You know, most people's cats don't go outside. For the most part, people's cats go in the litter box. And it could be argued, okay, they walk around in the litter box, then walk all over the house. Well, a couple things going on there. How dirty is the litter box? Do you keep it a disaster zone, or do you actually take care of your cats and clean their litter box out like you're supposed to? Because if you were, the only thing they'd be stepping in really is sand, the equivalent of sand and gravel, basically. But if you're nasty and filthy and you don't take care of your animals, then yeah, their litter box will be dirty. And then subsequently, over time, sure, they're going to track that all over your house if you don't clean up. I'm hearing a theme here. It sounds like you don't clean up. So then let's talk about the dogs. So the dogs go outside barefoot, primarily in grass and on concrete, right? But that would be it. Dirt, grass, and concrete. They typically aren't walking in the mall, in subway stations, in parking lot. Typically. Think about everywhere a human being goes. Human beings go into the public restroom where people miss. And then the staff doesn't really, keep up with cleaning the bathroom that well. But probably the most egregious thing that human beings do is they spit. They spit on the ground. They spit on the concrete. They spit on the sidewalks. They spit everywhere. And you step in that. And then you track it into your house and then wonder why your whole family has pink eye. Even though pink eye doesn't come from your spit. But you get my point. Where are all these brand new illnesses coming from? You probably tracked it in. You tracked it in with yourself. All right. So, she's trying to make the argument that your pet's feet are dirtier than the bottom of your shoes. But also, let's never forget, animals clean themselves, especially cats. I've seen dogs kind of clean themselves too, but cats especially clean everything, including their feet. Okay. They're cleaner than you. Let's see here. So then she starts to get like, this is really a psychological piece of work here. She goes, instead, shoeless homeowners prefer to do the easy thing and point at my shoes and deliver the unspoken message. Chris, welcome to our home where your filth is filthier than the filth we already have all over our floors. So she takes it as a personal affront. She takes it personal when someone asks her to remove her shoes. It's almost like to her, they're saying, you're dirty. You're a dirty person. You're dirty, 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 filthy, filthy, filthy. Ew, you're so gross. You need to take your shoes off before you come in my house. That's essentially the message that she's receiving. And do you all remember when, I don't know what channel or what show we were doing, where I said that the narcissist, basically they do that. They take something benign and they make it about themselves, and then they take it to the extreme. And the example I gave you was you offering to help around Thanksgiving, you offering the host help, and the host takes offense as if you're basically saying that they don't know how to cook. So they need your help to help them cook, when really all you were trying to do was be hospitable. They're very, very ready to be offended. They're always ready to be offended about something. And that's why you have so many problems out of these people, because something that you really didn't mean any harm by, they take great offense to and will craft a whole entire story around it. So the story that she's told herself in regard to this is that I must be dirty and you think I'm dirty and that's why you want me to take my shoes off, when the real story is all shoes are dirty. Shoes are dirty. Like there are some people who have like garden shoes that they only wear out in the garden. There are some people who have garage shoes. So people who work like heavy in their garage a lot, doing all kinds of different projects, working on their cars, lawnmowers, whatever. They have garage shoes where they only wear these shoes in the garage. Same thing with outdoor shoes. Some people only have outdoor shoes. They only wear them out in the yard and stuff. They won't wear them in the house. A lot of hospital workers will not wear their hospital shoes in their house. They won't do it. They will take those shoes off at the door before they step foot into their house. And they've been in a hospital all day, not even outside. They just been around all these germs and things all day long. They will not wear those shoes in their house. So the message is that shoes, period, are dirty. That's their point. The point of wearing shoes is so we don't get our feet dirty. But it's almost like she thinks that people who would ask her something like that would also be keeping a dirty house. And it's, to me, it's been quite the opposite. The person who's going to ask you to remove your shoes keeps probably an unusually clean house, which is why they would ask you to do that. Like, I'm just blown away by this, but this is such a hot button issue. All right. So then she goes on to craft this elaborate story about how she could get herself hurt trying to take her shoes off at your front door. Now, the only justification that she made, in my opinion, in this article is if the visitor is elderly or infirm or perhaps has bad balance. Like, I don't know how y'all feel, but personally, like if a person is sincerely elderly, or I know that they're not physically really able to be doing all this off on, like, I'm gonna go a little bit easier on the older people, because a lot of old people actually need their shoes also to kind of like stabilize them. And like I'm not going to ask my 90-year-old grandmother to take her shoes off. You know what I mean? But at the same time, she's probably not going to be even be walking. She'll probably be in a wheelchair, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I think there is some judgments, there are some judgment calls to be made, but I don't think that's the point that she's trying to make. And I also don't think that's the point that shoes off people are trying to make. I really do. So she's concerned that she's going to topple over, fall, and hurt herself in your house trying to take her shoes off, which is probably something she would do on purpose anyway. A person like this, to kind of protest the request, is going to purposely like trip and fall over in the foyer, trying to be like, oh gosh, look what you made me do trying to take my shoes off, right? Then she goes on to list everything that our feet are vulnerable to: chair legs, bedposts, door jambs, dropped knives, random Lego pieces, and God forbid anyone has been playing jacks. Girl, whose house are you going to? Like, their house sounds like a total disaster zone. But to me, once again, people who live in disaster zones generally don't ask you to take their shoes off. That's just been my experience. It's people who live in clean houses who ask you to take their shoes off. All right. Then she goes on to make an argument for the hosiery, and if you're wearing pantyhose or something like that. All right. And then there's a little bit more. Let me get down to it. Then she goes on to say, don't offer me a pair of guest slippers. So here's my solution for this. I'm jumping ahead just a little bit, but here's the solution. If you just have to go, if you're a person who is adamantly against taking your shoes off, number one, you don't have to go. You don't have to be there. And that's one thing I feel narcissists will do. They act like they just have to be there, like somebody forced them to be there. You don't have to go to the shoeless house. You really don't. Like, don't get to the front door and act surprised. Don't get to the front door and act like you didn't know what was going on. But what I like to do when I know I'm going to a shoeless house is I just take a pair of clean socks with me. So either I'll already have on socks, like if I have on boots, I probably have socks on in the boots. So if I have on boots, I just take my boots off, walk around in my socks, no big deal. But if I'm not wearing shoes that require socks, I'll just keep a pair of socks with me. Or like if it's someone I'm dating, I'll say, give me a pair of socks, and force him to hand over a pair of his socks. You know what I mean? Socks can solve a lot. All right. But here's the flip side of that. If you are a shoes off person and you live in a shoes off home, you need to let people know that, because to me, it is equally as narcissistic to not tell people that you are a shoes off house just so you can make the demand at the front door, because that's how some people want to do it. They don't want you to have socks or something, to cover your feet when you get there. They want to catch you off guard, and they want to catch you by surprise because they're narcissistic and controlling in that way. So to avoid that, you just need to let people know, hey, my house is shoes off. Hey, I have a shoes off house. If you really want to be a hospitable house guest or house hostess, buy a pack of socks, 10 or 12 pairs, and give them to your guests and tell them to keep them. Say, they're your socks now. Brand new, fresh out the pack. They're your socks now. Keep them. That's your parting gift. That's how you smooth these things over. You don't spring it on anybody. And if you're an asshole like this person, you don't carry yourself over there. You don't go over there. You just don't go to their house. Like, well, I'm against taking my shoes off. So sorry, I can't come to your house. I apologize. But if that rule ever changes, let me know. And that's how everyone maintains their boundaries. But it sounds to me like she's just making the announcement and the declaration that I'm coming to your house, and no, I'm not taking my shoes off. And my whole thing would be, oh, you don't have to take your shoes off, honey. You can stand at the window. Since you just got to be here, we'll open the windows up for you and you can talk to us through the screen. And I'll bring you stuff. I'll bring you little food and things. I'll bring it to you, but you're going to need to stay outside. Okay. So then she goes into this elaborate justification about how, what is she? She said exposure to low level filth, like that tracked in by friends who refuse to remove their shoes, actually helps bring a little bit of the outside in. So you can bring in that dog poop, you can bring in that spit, that gum that you stepped in, the pollen. Let's not even talk about the pollen. Some people take off their shoes and things before they come in to try to keep allergens in their house down. Things like pollen, especially when the pollen is high, they try to remove as much as possible so they don't bring it in their house. Then this fool goes on to say they got to eat some dirt in this life. So why not get them started at home? So am I to assume then that you're just sitting around at home letting your kids eat dirt? Chat says she's making the declaration and forewarning everyone that she's nasty as hell. Yes, she is. Because I promise you, I would put money on the fact that this is the same type of person who refuses to wash their hands before you sit down to eat. I've shared with some of you before that that was a big rule in my grandmother's house. So my grandmother was not a shoes off house, but my grandmother was big on washing your hands before you sit down at the dinner table or before you serve yourself. And you couldn't wash your hands in her kitchen sink. You had to wash your hands in her bathroom sink. You did. And if she caught you trying to wash your hands in her kitchen sink, she would stop you and redirect you to the bathroom where you knew you were supposed to be washing your hands. And that was her rule. That was just her rule about her house, her kitchen. And we all followed it and we all obeyed it. Now, do we wash our hands in our kitchen sink now? Some of us do, some of us don't. Some will only wash in the bathroom sink. Some don't care. They'll do kitchen or bathroom, but that was her house and those were her rules and we had to respect that. This seems like the type of person who, if my grandmother was like, oh, sweetie, would you mind washing your hands before you eat? And the girl goes, oh, no, thank you. I washed them before I left my house. I feel like my grandma probably would have put her out the house or at least gotten her away from the food. Like, how do you just openly declare what you're not going to do at somebody else's house? Like, I just don't understand that. I can't process how you have just set these rules for yourself at someone else's home. And then when they push back and say, well, I have a baby and they're crawling around on the floor, you say back to them, well, they got to eat some dirt at some point in this life, right? They might as well start at home. Wow. So, and then she closes this article out by saying her policy is if there's something visibly nasty stuck to the bottom of your shoes, wait, unless there is something seriously nasty and visibly stuck to the bottom of your shoes, they should remain on your feet unless you personally desire to take them off. And then, my friend, you're on your own. So that means her house is covered in Legos, jacks, dog poop, fallen knives, nail clippings, dirt, dust, hair, you name it. Her floor has it. And she's saying, if you want to take your shoes off in this filthy house, go ahead. But I can't help you for whatever you step on. Okay. So the gall of it all, the audacity of it all, the narcissism of it all was really shocking to me. It actually really floored me. And that's why every time I saw that article, I tried to read it and it was behind that paywall. But then I finally saw it on Facebook and I took this little screen capture of it. So I will link it for you once this video is done. But it will probably be behind a paywall for you too, unless you have the Wall Street Journal. Well, her little article really set off a bit of a firestorm. Okay. We're going to look at this article that was published in The Guardian today, actually. And I really thought it truly captured a lot of what I was trying to say. And then I'll have a few more closing thoughts for you, and then we'll be all done here. Okay. Welcome to everybody in the chat. I see the chat is going crazy because this is just insane. Like, I do think it's important, though, to bring out articles like this and sentiments like these, because it reminds us that there are so many narcissists in the world still. There are so many narcissists still running wild in our society. And this is the way that they think. And it's very important to see how they think, because this is why they also disrespect other things that belong to you. Do you understand? So tonight's conversation is about shoes and taking your shoes off when you enter someone's home at their request. But imagine how many other ways that this plays out. The other things about you or of yours that they don't respect because they don't feel like they have to. Okay. So this is published today, and it's titled, "Here's Why Your Shoes Will Be Staying the Hell Out of My House." Okay. So someone published a counter article. Hold on. Let me log into The Guardian really, really quick. Welcome, everyone. Let me log in because I do have a little registration with them, which I appreciate them not slamming everything behind a paywall. So let me jot in here really quick. And I also need to close this window. It's starting to turn into an abyss. Okay. So let me do that really quick. Let me close this window. Let me log into this article, and I'm going to run a quick commercial while I do that. And your book collection but not sure where to start? With everything going on this past year, why not get away in the prophetic love story of Jazzman, written by V. Prophetess Hazlett. Based on the lovely setting of Rhinebeck, New York, Jazzman is a love story that proves lasting love still exists. Pick up your paperback or Kindle copy today, link in the description box below. All right, I've closed that window and shut off the abyss to the outside. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. So good to see you all. Great to have you all here, okay? So let's take a look at this article. The Wall Street Journal essay about keeping shoes on left me aghast. As my auntie Chi Mai put it, when you walk into my house wearing shoes, you are walking across my heart. When I was in third grade, I was sent away for a semester to my parents' native Taiwan as part of an effort to make me less of a disgrace to my ancestors. The idea was that I, an unruly little snot, would benefit from Chinese language immersion and exposure to the superior self-discipline and obedience of Formosan youth. 3 months later, my Mandarin remained middling, and I'd managed to corrupt my class with shared snacks and American comic books. But I did learn one big lesson, courtesy of my auntie Chi Mai, a towering figure who had quit high school to help raise 9 younger brothers and sisters, was pushed to run for the national legislature by her awestruck neighbors and won, serving effectively for decades, and had zero patience for nonsense from unruly little snots. On my first day at her house, I'd stepped across the threshold still wearing my sneakers and been instantly speared with an icy rebuke. When you walk into my house wearing shoes, you are walking across my heart, she said. For the next 3 months, I dutifully removed my shoes in the corridor and stepped into one of the many pairs of comfortable house slippers that she and every other home in Taiwan made available for guests. It made sense. The path from school to her house was dusty, and my cousins and I were often distracted chasing lizards or playing with cats. Why would I bring the grime and debris of the outside world into her personal sanctum? And it was also, as Auntie said, an important bit of symbolism as well. The small act of taking off shoes shows deference to hospitality and care for the belongings of the host. It also engenders a kind of intimacy. Outside in your shoes, you're a stranger among strangers, but in your stocking feet at home, you are part of the family. All of this is why last week's essay by Wall Street Journal deputy, section editor, and self proclaimed humor columnist Chris Frieswick left me aghast. First came its face slap of a title, Here's Why I'll Be Keeping My Shoes On in Your Shoeless Home. Then insult to injury, its rage inducing subhead, Why are you assuming that your guests' shoes are dirtier than your floors? Which was followed by an 800 words of auntie triggering nonsense, arguing that shoelessness was a recipe for broken toes and shattered feet, that everyone's homes are already engulfed in bacteria and fecal matter. So, what's the problem with a little more? That guest slippers are parasite infested death traps, and that, hey, bringing a little bit of funk into your house actually gives your immune system a boost. I write this without hesitation. This is someone whom neither Auntie Chi Mei nor I would ever have in our home, with or without shoes. And if you believe and behave similarly, you aren't welcome either. The basic arrogance of rejecting the customs of my household is already staggering, but to do so while suggesting that my floors are probably more foul than the soles of your gutter glazed shoes, and that even if you do track trash into my domicile, it'll just make me and my kids healthier. My welcome mat does not currently hide a spring loaded catapult that will shoot you off my stoop and into the street where you belong, but don't think I'm not considering installing one. It says, here's the thing, in Asia and many other parts of the civilized world, there are social customs that are focused on preserving the health, comfort, and safety of the people around us. Some of these customs require a little bit of personal sacrifice, like swapping your street shoes for some sweet Hello Kitty slides when you come inside, or say wearing a simple, oh, never mind, it's getting ready to get political. Okay. I'm not going to keep going because it's about to slide into the political, okay? We're not here to talk politics today. For once, we're actually not here to talk politics, okay? We're staying focused on the subject at hand, okay? So I thought this was a really great rebuttal to that article. And this was someone who was Taiwanese, who basically, their parents sent them away to learn some manners. And they were saying they didn't learn much, but they did learn how to respect other people's homes. And that when you're walking into someone's home, you're walking into their heart. And you really are. You really are. It's I think is one of the highest forms of disrespect to leave your shoes on when you don't really have a medical reason to do so. And I will hold for medical reasons, but basically telling a person no and then trekking through their house anyway. And I've seen this behavior a lot, and believe it or not, I see it primarily out of the older generations. And I'm not saying that young people don't do it, because this person, Chris Frieswick, she's not that old. But it's almost like the adults are saying, how dare you ask me to remove my shoes in your house? I am your parent. I birthed you. I'll walk wherever I want to walk. I'll put my shoes wherever I want to put them. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't even have this house. Like, it's like such a sign of disrespect, you guys. I can't even begin to express it to you. And I think I might go into it in a show I do called Boomer Obstinance, which many of you want me to do. I first brought that up on my other channel, AD per PTE, but it's part of that boomer obstinance. It's an arrogance and a high-mindedness, and it's almost like taking my shoes off defers to you, and in their sick mind, it places you above them. So when I take my shoes off in your home, I'm making myself small in comparison to you. That's what they really think. When really what the person is thinking is, I would really like to keep my carpet nice. And speaking of nice carpet, when I started living on my own, I just made a vow to myself that I didn't want to wear shoes in my house, and I didn't. And it's amazing how, upon every move out inspection, they always ask me, "Did they put down new carpet before you moved in?" And I'd be like, "I don't know why." And they'll say, "Oh, because it looks new." Yeah, it does look new because I don't wear shoes in here. I don't. And it makes all the difference in the world, you guys. People who wear shoes in their house, listen, that's your business. If you want to wear shoes in your house, go ahead. But the carpet in houses where people wear shoes is completely destroyed. It's flat, it's dirty, but above all, it's flat. It's almost like the shoes flatten the carpet out over time. And versus a shoeless house, the carpet tends to be very fluffy and looks like new, looks brand new. I remember I've sent pictures to people before, and I just got through vacuuming, but the picture was of something else, and they'll notice the carpet and say, "Did you get new carpet?" And I'll say, "No, that's the same carpet I have when I moved in." "Why do you ask?" "Oh, because it looks new." "Oh, well, that's because I don't wear shoes in my house." Period. So shoes destroy carpet over time. Now, why that is, I'm not sure. Maybe it has something to do with the friction. I don't know. Or maybe the fact that there's so much dirt and gunk and grime coming off of the shoes that it just compresses over the years. It just compresses the carpet down into like a flat surface. Okay. So, my carpet right now looks pretty decent. You know where the carpet is the most messed up? Near the door that leads out to the yard. That's where the carpet is the most messed up. I wonder why. I wonder why the carpet closest to the door that leads out to the yard is the worst part of the whole of the carpet. I wonder why. Could it be because I wear shoes outside and then when I come back in, I take them off right there, right by the door? Could it be? What y'all think? It's just a theory. And we got clay out here too. So, we get to deal with the redness of it all. Ooh, I wish you would try to track those Georgia clay red boots through my house. Because that red clay, it almost comes out of nothing. Like it stains it. So anyway, yeah, you can see the high traffic trail too. So the chat says you can see the high traffic trail in the carpet. You most certainly can. You most certainly can. And something that I hadn't been doing, but I'm going to start doing going forward, I have one now, is just putting down little rugs in those high traffic areas. I never really dealt with rugs before, mainly because I can't wash them. I know they have washable rugs now, but I never really dealt with rugs before. Of course, you can vacuum them and things like that, but I hated the fact that there's just this mat laying here that I can't wash. But I did buy one, and I think it's a good idea because it helps protect the carpet underneath. But anyway, that was just an aside to talk about what shoes actually do to your carpet. So those of you who are homeowners and do plan on selling your house one day, I highly recommend that if you are a shoes on house, you quickly become a shoes off house because you're going to destroy your carpet. And everyone can tell, and no amount of vacuuming can undo the damage of a house that has allowed shoes in it for 20 years. Okay? So, like, it's something serious. Like, this is a serious proof point, I feel, of how someone respects your home or doesn't, or respects you or doesn't. Like, I've met people who come to the front door and they just take them off without me saying a word, because that's just who they are and how they were raised. And I appreciate them so greatly. You know why? Because I'd probably spent hours before they got there cleaning up, including vacuuming the carpet for them, for me too, but for them also, because you're my guest. So I'm going to offer you a clean home. The least you could do is not track in the outside. But even if you felt like it was ridiculous, and here's what makes the difference between narcissistic people and non-narcissistic. Even if you felt like it was a ridiculous request, You're supposed to honor your friend or honor your family member in that way. You know what I mean? Assuming they did not spring it on you. I would hope that they didn't spring it on you. You know what I mean? All right. So let's look at something I think might refresh you guys' memory. This conversation has been going on for a long time. So I'm not going to play the actual clip for copyright reasons, obviously. But do you all remember this scene from Sex and the City where Carrie had gone to a friend's, it might have, no, it wasn't a baby shower. I don't know what it was. It was a house party of some kind. And her friend asked her to ask everyone to take their shoes off at the door. Carrie didn't want to, but she went ahead and obliged, and her shoes ended up getting stolen. Do y'all remember this?
No offense, Carrie, but I really don't think we should have to pay for your extravagant lifestyle. I mean, it was your choice to buy shoes that expensive.
Yes, but it wasn't my choice to take them off.
They're just shoes.
Shoes.
No offense, Carrie, but I really don't think we should have to pay for your extravagant lifestyle. I mean, it was your choice to buy shoes that expensive.
Yes, but it wasn't my choice to take them off.
They're just shoes.
Shoes.
So, what a weird dilemma to be in, right? So, the lady on the right was hosting the house party. Carrie gets there in her Manolo Blahniks, which were $485 in this show. You know, she asked her to remove them. She didn't want to, but she went ahead and obliged, which was the polite thing to do. But then somebody stole Carrie's shoes, and her friend didn't want to reimburse her for that. And I thought the part I really wanted to highlight to you there was the part where she said, where the lady, first of all, how narcissistic to say, sorry, someone stole your shoes at my party, but your shoes and your lifestyle are a little bit too expensive for me to reimburse. Like, how rude, you know? And she meant it too in the show, of course. And she said, well, it wasn't our choice for you to, buy such expensive shoes. And she said, yeah, but it wasn't my choice to take them off. And I thought this was an important piece to highlight and bring out because there's a lot of choices here. There's a lot of choice in all of this, as there should be. There should be no force involved in any of this. So this woman on the right, as nasty as she is, and as narcissistic as she may be, she does have a right to request people not wear shoes in her house. Now, should she have told them that before they got there so they could have developed a plan? Yes, right? Or I'd be inclined to maybe carry my shoes around with me, honey, if I was worried about them getting stolen. But who steals shoes? Anyway, I'm getting off the point. The point is, there's a lot of choice here. Carrie could have chosen not to take them off, but then she may have also been choosing not to attend the party. This lady has the option of not having people wear shoes in her house, but she should have then turned around and done the right thing by reimbursing her friend. So, I think this would be a really great debate topic, like who was in the wrong here, you know what I mean? Or what should have happened here? What should have taken place? Obviously, this woman should have reimbursed Carrie and let that be the end of it. But if I were Carrie, I don't know. Like, I feel like I either would have just, like, if I didn't know and I had to walk around barefoot, because who really wants to be completely barefoot, I'd either carry my shoes around with me or I'd have to ask for a pair of socks. I need some socks, honey, or something. Okay. So, but I thought this was funny because this discussion, this whole shoes off conversation has been going on for so long. And then I wanted to tell you guys a story of this happening to someone I know personally. This was years ago. This was at least 20 years ago. When I was in college, and my roommate, she had just moved out because she had just had a baby and all this stuff. So her parents were en route to visit her and the new baby and the father of her child. And she let them know on the way there. She said, hey, oh, by the way, it's shoes off. So I think she said, I have socks for you. I forgot what she said. And they were so offended that she told them, I want, shoes off in my house, that they turned around and drove all the way back to the city that they were coming from. So they were about 2 years. They were about 2 hours into the trip. And when she kind of let them know this, they were so angry about it, you guys. The grandparents of their brand new grandbaby were so angry that their daughter asked them to be shoes off that they turned around and went all the way back home. And it was an incredibly toxic relationship and toxic dynamic in general between her and her parents. Because, like I was saying earlier, how many other ways does this come out? You know, it was her house, her baby, her child, her atmosphere, her environment. And her only request is that they remove their shoes. And they became offended, turned around, and went all the way back home. So that goes to show you, if that doesn't highlight the character that these people have, who are basically asserting themselves and saying, you will not tell me what to do in your house. Your house. Like nothing else will illustrate that character to you. Nothing. Okay. So again, the only way that you can really override this and make it fair and make it a fair situation is to let them know ahead of time. Let them know before they get there, before they leave. You know, some people put it on invitations. Like if they're having a baby shower, you know, any kind of shower or something at their house, they will let you know on the invitation. And honestly, like, as crazy as it sounds, that you should want to go to a house like that, because that, I guarantee you, it means they keep their house clean overall. I guarantee it. Like, it's so bad with me now. Like, even if a person is not a shoes off house, if their carpet is too nice, I won't walk on it with my shoes. I'll just take them off. I'm like, oh, but your carpet is so nice. It's so clean. You know, like I'll walk on it. If they say it's not shoes off, you can leave your shoes on. Okay, I'll walk on a hard surface with my shoes on. But if we come to an area that's obviously clean and the carpet is obviously plush and beautiful and nice, like I just can't bring myself to walk over it. Like it feels weird. It feels strange doing that, you know, but that's just me. You know, shout out to those of you who sincerely don't care, who don't have these little hangups one way or another. You're like, hey, shoes off, shoes on, who cares? Shout out to those of you who don't have any hangups. But I think for those of us who do, it's all about respect. And it's about respecting someone's requests and respecting someone's rules and respecting their preferences for their environment. Now, when you're out in public or in neutral territory, that's a different story because it's public. So we all have to kind of come to some degree of neutrality in public, because now we're having to consider everyone's preferences all at the same time. But your home should be your sanctuary. And it should be the one place where you can have things exactly how you like it. So if a person blatantly disregards your house rules, trust me when I tell you, they will disregard every other preference you set for yourself as well. Every other preference that you put in place, they will disregard that as well. So honestly, this is kind of a test, to be honest. Like if you're trying to test to see who you're dealing with, invite them to your house, you know, and say, oh, by the way, it's a shoes off house, but I have socks. They're all clean. You know, I'll offer you some socks. And if they scoff at the idea of it being a shoes off house, or if they tell you flat out, oh, I'm not taking my shoes off in your house, see you at 7, then it's on you to make sure that you essentially put your foot down and say, sorry, friend. You know, I really gotta ask that you respect that. I really gotta ask that you respect my home and you know, remove your shoes if you want to come over. You know, you can wear socks, but if they are just so against it and just so completely 100% dismissive of it, you know who you're dealing with right there. Exactly. It's not the Taj Mahal, but it's mine. Exactly. Chat says, I don't play about my house. It's not the Taj Mahal, but it's mine. Exactly. And sometimes, you know, that home being clean, that is one of the highest riches that you can have. That's one of the highest forms of wealth, in my opinion, a clean home. And I'm telling y'all, shoes, bring in everything, sticks, stones, dirt, dust, like literally a little bit of everything your shoes track in. And the idea that this fool really thinks a doormat is sufficient to completely clean your shoes enough to walk around in the house with them on really says a lot about her ability to think things through all the way. But that's how narcissists are. They don't think things through all the way. They come up with very simple solutions, very simple answers to very simple plans, and then get mad when you challenge them. Yeah, chat, some people leave them in the garage. Chat says, I leave mine in the garage. Okay. So I wanted to bring this to you guys. I had been seeing it circulating for days, just didn't have an opportunity to read the actual article until I saw it on Facebook. So I'm very curious about you guys' thoughts. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section once this video uploads. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So the takeaway is narcissists believe they own everywhere and everything, including your home. The fact that she would even publish this says a lot. Like, what were you trying to accomplish by publishing that article? Just letting people know you're a psychotic narc? Just letting people know? Or is she trying to like start a new mindset or like seed a new mindset in the population of basically, I don't respect your rules in your own house or anywhere for that matter. No, I won't take my shoes off in your house. Here's why I'll be keeping my shoes on in your shoeless home. Like, that's like telling somebody I'm going to smoke in your smoke-free house. You do understand that, right? That's like telling someone, hey, I know you're a smoker and that's cool. You can go on the back porch, but I don't smoke in my house. And them saying, here's why I'll be smoking in your house. And then them coming up with a laundry list of reasons for why your indoor air quality is already bad and how their smoke in your house can't be any worse for you than the indoor air quality that you already have, and that they should have a right to smoke in your house and not on the back porch where you ask them to because of reasons. It's the exact same thing. Yeah, she's trying to normalize it. Absolutely. Chat says, stay tuned. More of these types of folks will be revealed. It's like they're feeling the need to come out and show themselves. It seems almost like they're tired of pretending they're good people. That's really what it seems like. They're tired of pretending that they're good people with manners when they're really not. Okay. They're really not. And they're tired of pretending that they are. So the equivalent of this is you saying, hey, come over to the party, come party with us. You can even smoke if you want to. You just got to smoke on the back porch because I don't smoke in my house, but you can smoke on the porch. And then basically saying, I'll smoke anywhere I want to, including your house. It's the exact same thing. Okay. The exact same thing. So you have to ask yourself, what would inspire her to feel so belligerent and obnoxious enough to publish this in the Wall Street Journal, you guys, the Wall Street Journal. All right. It really makes you wonder, like, why? Like, what is the purpose of telling people this? Because you had to know people were not going to respond positively to this. Because you're basically just telling them, no matter what rules you set for yourself, I'm going to violate them. And here are my reasons why. And as a matter of fact, it's actually good for you. So like, you need a little bit of dirt in your home. It's good for your immune system. Boy, I bet she doesn't clean her kitchen. I bet she doesn't wash her hands or anything else, honey. And this is why they need to ban potlucks, because people like this are bringing food to the company potluck. Okay. And with that, you guys, that's pretty much all I have to say. I appreciate you all for being here. And we will catch up with each other again very, very soon. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Very curious what you guys think of all of this. And I will be watching the live chat replay once the show uploads, okay? Take care and talk to you soon. Bye. Like mine, it is thick, kinky, curly, and defiant. can also be prone to tangles, making wash days very difficult. I was just about to cut it all off when I discovered Cosmology's products. Their styling tools are like nothing I've ever found anywhere. They are sturdy, strong, and made with one mold, meaning no individual parts. This helps the hair slip through the tool, making detangling a breeze. My hair fights, and Cosmology's tools fight back. My personal favorite are the paddle comb and the Curls Plus comb. Check out their range of products today using the link in the description box below, and use the discount code PTE at checkout for 10% off of your purchase. Cosmology's tools changed my life and hair routine. I hope they do the same for you.